Nothing is as good or as bad as it seems. This is the chapter where Morgan Housel delivers the single most humbling insight in all of finance. It is the chapter that, once internalized, makes it impossible to look at a rich person with automatic reverence or a struggling person with automatic scorn. The central thesis is devastating in its simplicity. Every financial outcome, every success, every failure, every fortune, every bankruptcy is the result of two invisible forces colliding: luck and risk. And neither of them cares 1% about your work ethic, your IQ, or your moral character. The Bill Gates paradox. Housel opens with a stark comparison that lands like a punch to the chest. Bill Gates attended Lakeside School, one of the only high schools in the world that possessed a computer terminal in 1968. This access, at precisely the right moment in history, gave him a 10,000-hour head start before most human beings had even touched a keyboard. He is brilliant, he is relentless, but without that terminal, the world would never have known his name. Kent Evans also attended Lakeside School. He was Bill Gates' best friend. They coded together, they dreamed together. Kent was, by Gates' own admission, just as smart, perhaps smarter. He had the same access, the same mentorship, the same burning ambition. Kent Evans died in a mountaineering accident before graduating high school. The uncomfortable truth? Bill Gates is not merely the sum of his choices. He is the sum of his choices plus a terminal that existed in exactly one place on Earth, plus surviving adolescence when his equal did not. The mirror problem. Housel identifies a cognitive trap he calls the mirror problem. We look at our own success and see effort, discipline, intelligence. We earn this. We deserve this. The mirror reflects our own face, our own labor, our own sacrifice. We look at other success and see luck. They got lucky. They were in the right place. They had advantages we didn't. And when we fail, we were unlucky. The market was against us. The timing was wrong. When others fail, they were lazy, reckless. They made bad choices. This asymmetry is not just hypocritical. It is financially dangerous. Because if you believe your success is a 100% earned, you will become arrogant. You will take risks you do not understand. You will confuse a favorable tailwind with permanent superpowers. And if you believe others' failures are 100% deserved, you will learn nothing from their example. You will dismiss their cautionary tales as irrelevant to your superior judgment. The invisible role of birth. Housel forces the reader to confront a question most prefer to ignore. How much of your financial life was determined before you drew your first breath? Consider, you did not choose your country of birth, yet being born in the United States versus Afghanistan is not a minor variable. It is the entire game. You did not choose your parents, yet inheriting financial literacy, emotional stability, and perhaps an actual inheritance is a head start no amount of grit can fully neutralize. You did not choose the era of your birth, yet growing up during the post-war economic explosion versus the 1930s Dust Bowl is the difference between a rising tide lifting all boats and a drought that cracks the hull. Housel is not arguing that effort is irrelevant. He is arguing that effort is universal. Outcome is not. Two farmers, identical in work ethic, identical in skill, one plants on fertile valley soil, one plants on rocky hillside. The harvests will differ, and it is obscene to attribute the difference solely to the quality of their labor. The Napoleon fallacy. Housel introduces a recurring concept he calls the Napoleon fallacy, named after the apocryphal story of a job applicant who was asked if he spoke French and replied, "No, but give me a week and I'll learn." The fallacy is this: We believe we can replicate others' success if we simply copy their actions. We see Warren Buffett's stock picks and assume buying the same companies will deliver the same fortune. But you cannot copy the context. You cannot copy the timing. You cannot copy the 50 years of compounding that turned a sensible decision into an incomprehensible fortune. You cannot copy the luck of being Warren Buffett instead of Kent Evans. Action is visible. Luck is invisible. We copy what we can see and ignore what we cannot. The most dangerous sentence in finance. Housel identifies a phrase that has destroyed more wealth than any market crash. This time is different. But he reframes it. The problem is not that people say this during bull markets. The problem is that people say this about themselves. Yes, others failed, but I am smarter. Yes, others got lucky, but I earned this. Yes, others were reckless, but I am disciplined. This is the mirror problem in its terminal phase. You have convinced yourself that you are immune to the forces that govern every other human being. You are not. Be counter-argument. Luck is not everything. Housel is careful not to veer into nihilism. He does not argue that effort is meaningless or that success is purely random. The correct formulation is this: everything worth pursuing involves risk. Risk means that despite perfect preparation, perfect execution, and perfect judgment, you can still fail. And luck means that despite sloppy preparation, sloppy execution, and sloppy judgment, you can still succeed. This is not an argument for fatalism. It is an argument for humility. The golfer who holds a 150-yard shot is still skilled, but he did not control the wind. He did not control the lie. He did not control the million minute variations that sent the ball into the cup rather than 6 inches left. His skill made the shot possible. Luck made it actual. The practical application. If luck and risk are omnipresent and impossible to reliably separate from skill and effort in any individual outcome, therefore, be humble in success, be merciful in failure, judge less, diversify more, and never confuse a favorable wind with the power of your own rowing. The core lesson distilled. Luck and risk are real. They are omnipresent, and they are impossible to reliably separate from skill and effort in any individual outcome. Therefore, be humble in success, be merciful in failure, judge less, diversify more, and never confuse a favorable wind with the power of your own rowing.